Hey everybody, welcome back to Miami Minute on Wicked Good Sports. We cover my favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, who improved to 5-1 for the first time since 2002. 21 years since such a hot start for the Dolphins, so let's get into it. This game didn't start out great. In fact, started out really bad. 14-0 in the first quarter. The Dolphins came out flat. Defensively, they were getting torn up by Bryce Young. Credit to him for playing a decent game, all things considered. And when I say all things considered, the talent level of that Carolina Panthers team is nothing really to write home about, perhaps outside of an aging Adam Thielen. And he looked like the first overall pick in that first quarter. But then came the second quarter and the rest of the game. The second quarter, the Dolphins were able to add 21 points, take the lead going into halftime. He added 7 in the third and 14 in the fourth, as well as gifting Carolina with another 7. So, importantly, the defense really stiffened up after a bad first quarter. They were no longer getting run all over. They were no longer getting picked apart by Bryce Young. They stepped up, and that gives me a little bit of confidence going into the Eagles game. Granted, Jalen Hurts, a very different quarterback from Bryce Young, and the Eagles offense, very different from the Carolina Panthers offense. Tua, of course, led the way passing with 21 of 31 for 262 yards and 3 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert added 115 on the ground with 2 touchdowns, as well as a receiving touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 163 yards, 1 touchdown, and Jalen Waddle added that other touchdown for the Dolphins. And of course, Ahmed, he came in at the fourth quarter and scored a final touchdown to give the 42-21 victory. This was a game that the Dolphins, I'm not going to say they needed to have it, but going into the Eagles next week and the Chiefs the week after in Germany, it would have sucked to lose this game. Right now they're 5-1. They can survive a 5-3 start after those. Ideally, they'd be 6-2. 7-1. I'm going to start looking at flights to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Again, slow start, but the offense and defense both started to show what they were made of, started to look like the team that we expect them to be in this season. After that, the Dolphins offense is still on a historic clip. Tyreek Hill, I think he has 816 yards on the season. That's absolutely insane. The second most through 6 games. 2 of the season has 1,614 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He's really been playing great football, and expect that to continue on. The Panthers are not a good team. The Dolphins were supposed to win, and they did win. So that has to make you feel good as a Dolphins fan. I think I want to give a shout out to Liam Eichenberg. He played decently at center, and if you watch the Bills game, that's not surprising, but it is positive. It might just be surprising, actually. I got to take that back. It is a little surprising because when I heard that Connor Williams was out, I was genuinely concerned. But the Panthers, a weaker defensive line than the Bills, to be sure, but the offensive line wasn't a terrible issue in this game in the same way that it was in the other game against Buffalo. Really, this is uncharted territory for me as a Miami Dolphins fan, probably unsurprisingly. The very first season that I watched, like all the way through, I paid a little bit of attention as a little kid in 2001, but this 2002 season where they started 5-1, I somewhat remember. It was, my first Dolphins experience. I remember them beating Denver on Monday Night Football. Jay Fielder getting hurt, like breaking his thumb, and Ray Lucas coming in and not performing that well for the Dolphins. So that's the key, as we said before the season started. keeping the quarterback healthy. And Tua has certainly helped himself by learning how to fall, learning to get the ball out pretty much as quickly as humanly possible. So hopefully that will be positive things going forward. The Dolphins have been stacking up injuries left and right this season. We had a few scares in this game. Tyreek Hill had cramps and he had to leave. Jalen Waddle got hit in the balls. You saw him mouth it on TV, which, not great, not what you want to see. But they both came back in and they both played the rest of the game and seemingly were fine. So hopefully that stays. Other than that, if you're a Dolphins fan, let me know how you're feeling. I imagine quite well. I mean, this was a solid win against a bad team, 0-6 Carolina Panthers, but a game that you can't really drop if you want to compete in this season. They already have 5 wins after 6 games. That's huge. I'm excited to see what happens in the rest of the season. We certainly will see. But leave me a comment down below. Other than that, follow the channel for sports talk. We cover all the major leagues. We cover the Dolphins and the Saints in depth for the NFL. And thank you so much for watching and listening. And we will see you in the next one.